Oh, hello. And thanks for checking into our Riverside Stories with Ryan. We're in the Payette River drainage on the main Payette. We're doing these stories because a lot of us are cooped up at home. And so we thought that it'd be fun to do something where we can try to bring you some material and show you a really cool place and let you know that, yeah, we care a lot about you guys and yeah, want to be a resource and trying some things to see if it sticks. If it works, great. If not, try something else. But I'm out here with my trusty director, Garrett Kepke, and as many of you know, I like to throw sticks. And I had to figure out a way to be able to throw sticks at people without them being offended. What I figured out is if I call them sticks of blessing, I can throw sticks at people, say, be blessed, and it works out just fine.
Be blessed.
Oh. So at any rate, it's kind of a fun thing we do, or we think it's fun. At least we think it's fun right now. But one of the things that we love at YD is to be able to tell stories, to be able to no sticks, no water bottles of blessing, please, or rocks of blessing. Little sticks at the feet, that works out fine. But we love to tell stories in creation. We love to be able to share and be vulnerable and to support one another. And so we thought that maybe we could tell some stories outside, and maybe that would be a way of supporting one another and remembering of some of the awesome things that can come out of spending time together in the outdoors, and provide some hope that we'll be able to do that again. And so got some stories for you. One of my favorite stories is of the time that I survived a major cougar attack. Don't know if you know this or not, but yeah, came really close. One time when I was a young man, my dad and I, one of the things that we did that we were able to come together pretty close in was hunting. And we had a lot of missteps. The first time I ever went hunting, took my grandfather's old sleeping bag that didn't zip up, and we went high in the mountains, and I thought I was gonna freeze. I was a pretty tender child and was pretty sure I was gonna die. So through the years from when I was about 10 to when I was about 13, 14 or so, go hunting, but they were pretty low acuity, stay close to home kind of stuff. But one year, my dad and his good hunting buddy growing up, John Spencer, they decided that, well, maybe I was old enough to go on the big trip. And so it was in the North Cascades, and you had to hike in there. We're gonna stay in there for several days going deer hunting, and I was really excited because now I was one of the guys. So we show up and we're packing in. It's beautiful, North Cascades, and this hike into Pelican Pass at the time seemed like this huge ordeal. We're going over logs, and I got my little .22 pistol and my knife. I'm like, I'm a real guy, right? And well, as we get in, we got lost. We wound up in a marsh. And as we're slogging through this marsh, hear this scream. And it's getting to be later in the afternoon. It's a little bit dark. And this scream just pierces everything around me. Suddenly, I wasn't so sure how tough I was or how big of a man I was. In fact, I was pretty sure I wasn't anymore and wanted to be really close to people that I considered to be men, preferably ones that were really good shots. So I got really close and, well, what's that? That's a cougar. I was like, oh, that's what a cougar sounds like? And sure enough, it was. And that whole evening, this cougar is going around and screaming. I've never heard anything hadn't heard anything like it before, and haven't heard it to that degree since. And it was an amazing experience. It's a sound that rattles you to your core and makes you know that you're not necessarily at the top of the food chain. On the way in, we ended up finding where we wanted to go. It was a slight misstep, nothing that big. My feet got a little wet. And as we came out of it, the marsh, found some grouse. I'd like to imagine that I shot one of the grouse, but I'm not sure. But at any rate, that night, we ate grouse roasted over an open fire with potatoes on the edge under this giant spruce tree. And it was awesome. I kicked back. I'm like, this is living. This is how life should be. So we saw the sunset and the harvest moon rise. I'm like, this is pretty all right. We went to bed assured that we were all going to just limit out in the morning with big old deer. As we go to sleep, the cougar is still out there but seems a lot farther away. As we go to sleep, there's this big harvest moon. The frost is setting on the grass. I'm in my new sleeping bag that I bought for the occasion after doing a paper route for way too long. And I go to sleep. As I'm drifting off to sleep, I have all these images of what's to come. And at the time, growing up, I got Outdoor Life. And on every issue, there was a "this happened to me" kind of thing. It's usually some story of survival, and it's pretty amazing. I always thought, wow, I wonder if I'll ever be in that. I was thinking of that as I drifted off to sleep. Somewhere in the night, I'm not quite sure where it was, I wake up to the sound at my neck, and it's this sniffing sound. And then it's a purring sound, and then I can hear this cat standing there purring and sniffing at my neck. And I couldn't move. I don't think I've ever been that, I know I'd never been that scared up until that point. And I know that I've rarely been that scared since. I'm in my sleeping bag, rolled up much like an enchilada for this big cat to feast on, and I don't know what to do. I'm laying there and I'm trying to yell for help, but I didn't really want to yell, I just wanted to get some attention. And it's perfectly quiet except for this. There's just a light little breeze going through the grass. The men are over there and they're sound asleep, making the sounds of slumber. And there I am about ready to be murdered, eaten alive by this giant cat. And I thought, this is it. This is how I die. And then I thought, no. Remember those stories, those "this happened to me" stories in Outdoor Life? This is your chance. This is where you become famous. You're gonna get this cat, and it's gonna be your manhood. And I thought of all of the rites of passage of manhood that many cultures have had and many still practice. I thought, this is it. This is my time to be brave. I realized though that I couldn't move, I couldn't speak. I was that scared, and that my knife, pistol, and rifle were on the other side of me, and I was laying on my side. So first, I had to come up with a plan. I got my fingers to move okay. At the same time, I'm still trying to whisper for help. Trying to control my breathing. This whole time, this cat is right here at my neck the whole time, and it's not moving. I'm like, what is it doing? It's just waiting for me to jump so it can pounce on me. And I thought, well, if I can get my hand up, unzip my zipper, fling around, yell, "Ha!" Give me a second to grab my gun and shoot it in the face. I thought that'd be a pretty good story. So I finally get my hand up there, I build up some courage, I say a prayer, try to yell for help one more time. I still can't speak. I don't know how I'm gonna scream, but I'm like, it'll happen. Say a little prayer, wonder what my mother will think. Because up to that time, I still asked my mother almost every night if I was gonna be okay, because she had told me this horrible story, how this child had died of a brain aneurysm going to bed because they had been playing like Street Fighter or something like that. And one of the kid that died had gotten roundhouse kicked to the head and had died in his sleep. So I figured that if my mom, she knew some things about science, so I asked her every night before I went to bed if I was gonna be okay, just so I could run through the day with her to make sure I wasn't gonna have a brain aneurysm and die in my sleep. So you have to remember, I was still in a pretty delicate stage emotionally, and I was wondering what was gonna happen to my poor mother. So there I am, all ready to go, said a little prayer, in a fluid motion that impressed even myself. I flung the zipper open, flung myself over, grabbed my gun, and there's nothing there. Turns out that big cougar had been a spruce branch that had been gently rubbing itself on my sleeping bag in that little wind, and everything else had become a construct of my imagination. As I screamed, everyone, all the other guys there, they all jumped up, "Ah! Ah! Ah!" kind of a thing. And I pretended that I'd had a bad nightmare and went back to sleep. I don't know what they did. The next day we did see the cougar. It did come by close to the camp, but never that close to my neck. And that is by far my most intimate interaction with a cougar, even if it did happen in my mind. So I like to tell that story a lot when we're out. Sometimes we see cougars out on the Owyhee, and it just reminds me of growing up, and keeps me a little bit grounded in the adventure that can be had out here in the woods. And it's fun to share those kind of stories with everybody. So thanks for checking in. Hope that someday soon that we can share some adventures and some stories, maybe even here along this river. So thanks. oftentimes I just think that I'm way cooler than I actually am. So I wanted to tell some gaperism stories. Many of you have gone skiing with me, and I'm an okay skier. I can get down most things in what's called patroller turns. They ain't pretty, but they'll get you down.